for New York.
Welcome to this week's edition of New York Now. I'm Dan Clark. So something is happening in New York right now that's never happened before. Two men from Queens, you might be familiar, could find themselves in a bit of legal trouble sometime soon. We found out this week that former President Donald Trump is now under criminal investigation by the New York Attorney General's office, which is working with the Manhattan DA's office. That's over claims that Trump's company misled lenders about the value of its assets to get new financing. So the former president could now be open to criminal charges. And back in Albany, we now know that federal prosecutors are moving forward with their probe into Governor Andrew Cuomo. It's the first time that both a president and a governor from New York have been under criminal investigation at the same time. For Cuomo, he's under investigation for his handling of nursing homes during the pandemic. And it turns out the book he published last year, you might remember it, might actually be part of that investigation. Cuomo's critics have suggested that he kept the true number of nursing home deaths under wraps because that could affect his book sales. Cuomo has said that's not the case, but some aren't buying it. And we found out this week that Cuomo's contract for the book was worth more than $5 million. Senate Republican leader Rob Ortt.
And I have little doubt that the folks at the DOJ or the Attorney General's office, particularly the DOJ because of their focus of their investigation, would take great interest in how that deal was constructed, when that deal was constructed, who worked on the book, all those things, because you're talking about money going into the governor's pocket.
Let's break it down with this week's panel. Bernadette Hogan is from the New York Post. Ryan Tarnelli is from the New York Law Journal. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me. So we have this really unprecedented situation of the governor being investigated by federal prosecutors over a number of things. We learned this week, Bern, I want to go to you first. We learned this week that feds are now asking lawmakers about the governor's book deal in some senses, and also investigating the preferential COVID testing that his family reportedly received in the early part of the pandemic.
Right, yeah.
And we also learned that they're still doing it, but go ahead, sorry.
Right, no, that's fine. We had a ton of news this week, especially, after, of course, the tax returns were released. We learned that the governor made a total of $5.1 million, or he will over at least the next 2 years. But anyway, so the feds, as you said, are investigating nursing home data, the governor's book deal, and priority testing for family members and those close to his aides. Now, the New York Times dropped this story a couple of days ago that priority special testing was given to the governor's daughter and her boyfriend as recent as this past April when she was coming home. It was Mariah Kennedy Cuomo, one of his daughters, coming home for Easter to visit her father in Albany, the governor. And we also learned that Melissa DeRosa, the governor's top aide, her father, Giorgio DeRosa, a top lobbyist in Albany for Bolton St. John's, was also privy to these priority testing schedules that now the feds are looking into that. And again, as you said, they're also investigating and bringing in lawmakers, top lawmakers chairing key committees like the Health Committee, Investigations Committee, et cetera, in the Assembly and the Senate, and asking them, what did you guys know and when did you know it about COVID-19 in nursing homes and what kind of data that the governor's office was sharing with you guys? Because of course this has been over a year now of controversy, questions, lack of information, and this is something that the feds are now taking interest in.
And I think what's kind of interesting, and Bernadette's done some great reporting on this, is showing how this is progressing, essentially, asking the lawmakers. If you talk to former federal prosecutors, they say that that federal investigations usually cast a really wide net. This would seem to be in alignment with that sometimes an investigation will start out as topic A and B and wind up as C, D, and E when they start narrowing in on any potential criminal charges or any sort of civil fines of some sort. Of course, in the Eastern District, this is a criminal probe from what we've reported, many other people have. So I think this is kind of in line with what a lot of former federal prosecutors see as a traditional way, a wide net, lots of different topics, finding and trying to track down where any criminal element might be.
Now, in terms of the criminal probe, are we talking about, and do we know, I guess is the question, Do we know if they're looking at criminal charges potentially against the governor? Is it his top aides, or is that something that we just have no idea about?
I think that remains to be seen at this point. It would seem to suggest that at this point they're interviewing some of the people who you would usually think to talk, right? First, people who have had public complaints against the governor, have had complaints about his conduct. And so, it may possibly in a few weeks, do we get a clearer sense of who they're narrowing in on, or whatever timeline might be out there. But short answer is, we don't know yet.
Also this week you had this great story, we mentioned it a little bit, but the feds are calling around to at least 1 or 2 lawmakers asking about the governor's book deal in relation to the nursing homes probe. So what are they asking them? Do we know?
Right, and as Ryan just said, and he made a great point, they are casting such a wide net. They're talking to all the key players that were involved intimately or even tangentially, but might have, had an impact on this entire situation. But lawmakers have, at least 3 of them have been interviewed by the feds, by FBI agents and prosecutors in the Eastern District, and they're asking them, what was your relationship with the Cuomo administration, and also just kind of trying to build a sort of, I suppose, not even a case, but just some sort of
Throwing the spaghetti at the wall.
Almost
seeing
a
what sticks.
basis of where they can go from there and trying
Right.
to suss out the relationships between everybody, it seems
Exactly, because of course, what we have reported, other colleagues in the media have also reported, is all out there, but then I think that the feds or whoever's looking into this are then going to these people that have popped up in these interviews that we've written about and said, hey, can you come in, can you talk to us? And from what I've heard, at least these three lawmakers, Senator Gustavo Rivera, Assemblyman John McDonald, and Assemblyman Ron Kim, they've all come in to talk. As far as I know, none of them have been subpoenaed for information, but they've said, if they ask for information, we're totally willing to share documents, et cetera. But again, it's a lot of gray area. And as Ryan said, I've talked to different sources who have said, look, even we don't know. But I think within the next 3 weeks, we will know a little bit more as to where they're going with this investigation.
Speaking of the next 3 weeks, that is going to be the end of the legislative session. On June 10th is the last scheduled date, or the 11th, can't remember. One big thing that's going to hopefully be happening by then is nominations to the Court of Appeals. We talked about it on the show last week, so I hope you remember that. It's the state's highest court, so there are 2 nominations that we're expecting by the end of session. There are only 7 judges on this court, so 2 judges is a pretty big deal. Ryan, where are we at in that process?
Exactly, just as you were mentioning, it's a huge deal. It's a time of tremendous turnover at the Court of Appeals and a lot of deep uncertainty about where the court goes from here. There's also going to be a 3rd nomination coming up with the age retirement of Eugene Fahey, Judge Fahey. So that will occur at the end of the year. But to your question, there are 2 open spots. The governor has since blown a deadline to nominate a replacement for Judge Leslie Stein's position. He is also able now to appoint somebody to Judge Paul Fineman's position. Judge Paul Fineman retired from the court earlier this year, then shortly passed away. So really, people are waiting. The whole legal community is waiting in anticipation. I talk to a lot of people who say, we're just on our toes, we're waiting. Which names are you hearing? Which names are you hearing? But everybody is just kind of in anticipation for these 2 seats, ones that could dramatically alter the court's trajectory when it comes to a variety of things, such as civil cases, how you deal with prisoner rights, a whole range of topics. So hopefully, I think we'll definitely see these in the next coming weeks. They want to get this wrapped up by the end of session.
Yeah, hopefully. I think it'll be really exciting to see who's going to be on the state's highest court. The governor has appointed all the judges, and he will do it once again, so that's really interesting, but we have to leave it there. Ryan Tarnelli from the New York Law Journal, Vern Hogan from the New York Post, thank you both, as always, for being here.
Thanks.
Thanks.